here at Bedroom Candy, one thing we're going to do is make sure that you slip and slide, whether it is in the bathroom or the bedroom. Anyway, welcome to the Business of Pleasure podcast. It's your girl, Kash, a sexologist bestie. And this conversation is going to be a bit of a road that can be a little rocky because the topic of discussion is one of those discussion topics that can get very deep, very emotional. I should have probably put some tissue near me because I'm a Pisces, aka crises. And I might cry or be in crisis from this conversation because I'm somebody impacted by this topic a lot. And I'm sitting here with somebody who I care about a lot. So I have no idea where this is going to take me because I think that some of these things I'll be hearing for the first time too. So that being said, trigger warning. If you or anyone you know or love is experiencing any form of domestic abuse, I want you guys to head over to the number that pops up on the screen. Call the domestic violence hotline, okay? As somebody who has taken advantage of that number and someone who has absolutely benefited from services that helped me there. I'm someone who, we'll talk deeper about these things, used the shelter services, started my life completely fresh again and new again. And I know it can be scary, but if anyone can be reflective of what it can look like to come out on the other side.
And they also have a text number. You could text them.
You can text now if you're in crisis because they understand that sometimes you can't talk when you're not in a safe space. Mm-hmm. And I think that was one of the biggest things. They also
at all times there's somebody to text
you back at all times. And I think that we've gotten so far away from being comfortable with accessing help. And then with a situation like DV, it's already isolating enough. So we need our people. But speaking of that, it is DV Awareness Month in October. And that is why I'm wearing our purple majestic lipstick from Bedroom Candy in solidarity of me and my sisters and brothers, because it happens to them too, who've been in any kind of domestic abusive sort of situation. It doesn't just happen with your romantic relationships. This can happen with individuals who you consider to be family. Domestic isn't exclusive to those. So just know that if you're also experiencing that with family members, that hotline is also available to you for that as well. But I'm sitting down with one of my childhood best friends and still to this day, one of my ride or dies. I call her one of my petty bitches R us. Because one thing we could do is be petty. We're missing one of our petty sisters in crime, but
Shout out to Sue.
Can we just start off really quick, Danny, talking about how we didn't like each other?
Yeah.
We did not like each other when we met each other because we are two intellectual women who, they always teach you that there's not enough room for more than one smart person in the room. When I tell you that the brain rivalry used to be real, and it's like this bitch always got to raise her hand. It's like in class.
Honestly, there was one point in time where I was like, can we just chop her hands off so she could stop raising them?
Yeah. What's the answer? She used to roll her eyes and all kind of shit. But she used to do it too. And the thing about Danny, you're going to hear when she talks, right? Because she's got a little, like, when she's ready, you see the stud, first of all, look at her. She has a valley girl in her sometimes, right? So in class, actually, the answer, and she does it always in this like slow, seductive talk. If you look at the cells, you'll see that one is mitochondria and the other one is a ribosome. And it all connected by the nucleus. Like this is how she'll talk, or like it's like a very seductive valley girl out of a straight, like, call me daddy, Danny. Anyway, my friend Danny, everyone.
Yo, why she's so serious?
Yeah, but you see her, like, one thing that's my favorite thing about Danny, her smile, though. I'll tell you that. She's got a big ass smile. I've always loved that. So I probably think that's what weakened me a little bit, because after we was... And then I remember at some point in high school making a pact that, like, if we didn't lose our virginity.
If you guys didn't lose your virginities by a certain age,
we had to give it to Danny.
I was going to get the cookie. And none of you bitches gave me anything.
None of us gave her no cookie.
None of you bitches.
We ran and hopped on a cock real quick.
You know, it's funny because at least 2 or 3 of them ended up being in lesbian relationships, and I've never gotten a piece.
You never got another piece of that.
No, it's all right though.
And now it's like you're so much of my sister that like I could see you have sex. Like, don't get me wrong, the voyeur in me is like, yeah, I'm down.
I've seen you have sex.
Oh yeah.
I've seen you do some things.
Now that I think about it, I remember that time I came by your house when you were living downtown on 23rd Street. And here's the worst part about it. Oh man, mama gonna hear this. Because mommy be listening. First of all,
Mommy be listening.
Her mom. And let's just put it like
she already knows that we had the party.
Because the thing is, first of all, her mom is like, the jury is still out on her actually being blind.
She's not really blind, guys. I just want you to know that.
Because I feel like she be seeing stuff.
Shadows.
Like I don't know what it is, but it's like how. When I tell you her sixth sense is prestige, but we come over and she answers the door ass naked, right? Like her mama ain't in the house, and I'm like completely taking advantage of the fact that mom can't see.
Well, to be quite honest with you, my mom was a nude mom.
I'm a nude mom.
I'm a nude mom.
Yes, shout out to the nude mom.
The nude moms be nuding, and
yeah,
we really don't care who comes over to the house, but have some respect. Keep your eyes up.
And I actually think that
what is that about? I really need to understand this.
If I'm in my house, I need to be comfortable.
You're just walking around, titties hanging, just ass just out. Like, why I can't put something on? Why?
Because clothing is restrictive. And then, like, for me, if you got anatomy like me, stuff ends up in cracks and crevices. Like, I always got to pull something out my ass cheeks and stuff. I don't have time for that in my house.
When you're dealing with small children, especially like toddlers.
It helps them actually become less sexualized, believe it or not, contrary to belief.
My kids are very... they're very touchy kids. They like to be hugged. They like to be caressed. They like their heads massaged till they fall asleep, those kinds of things. So, having that warmth next to them, that skin to skin makes them fall right asleep.
Yeah, and I mean, I nursed for my youngest until he was almost 3. Right. And so skin to skin contact happened for a long time with him or whatever the case is. And even my oldest, who is on the autism spectrum, he didn't nurse as long, but because he has sensory things or whatever the case is, I still had to do a lot of like skin to skin touch things to kind of help with soothing him. But I actually find that it made them more respectful. Like my son, my oldest, if he sees me walk out into the room, he naturally turns his head. I never had to teach him not to look. I never had to, whatever the case is, like he just automatically shows a little bit of a respect. But also when he interacts with me, he's never like oogling mommy's breast or, whatever the case is, where like most people would think that it does that. And my youngest, I don't think he's ever asked me about being naked because I'm always naked, and I very much so reinforce boundaries, safe touch, and also for them, helping them understand like their bodies, where your private zones are, and X, Y, and Z. But my mother was a nude mom, and first of all, I grew up as a young girl admiring her, like her body or whatever case is. And there were certain things that she used to do, even pulling her panty line up. And I was like, I didn't know what she was doing. Then I got grown and I was like, oh, she was bringing them hips forward. Oh, mommy had a little game. Back in the day when all the bikinis would be like super high cut, it just has a way of contouring the body. And I definitely used to like, want to emulate those types of things. But I don't remember a single point in time ever feeling aroused by the sight of, that being the case.
Well, that's how my mom taught me about sex, was because she couldn't see and she didn't want me to, just go out in the world and explore it myself. She would show me, hey, this is the clitoris, this is the vulva. These things do these things. And then even with my kids, like, touch, now I know where their boundaries are as a nude mom. When they don't feel like being touched, when they do feel like being touched, they tell me, no, mommy, and
they're setting boundaries very early. And that, first of all, there are people at their big age, and it's still day and age, who don't understand how to even create those same boundaries for themselves. And I find a lot of people also end up in like some abuse scenarios because they were afraid to speak up. Something is happening to them. They're conflicted about what they're feeling, but some part of them freezes because some people have that response to trauma, right? Mm-hmm. They're realizing like, I don't feel good about this, but they're scared to say, please don't touch me. Or sometimes, I don't know, I'm from New York. We're from New York. Setting boundaries is a thing that can get you disrespected.
Yeah.
Right. Especially like, you know, in those scenarios. So I find as a woman, that was also a thing for me, like being able to assert my boundary, but be safe while I'm doing it. Because like, please don't touch me should not be something I have to worry about a person like getting aggressive with me about because he just reached out and grabbed my hand while I'm walking.
2025 and we live in New York. What? You'll get shot in the face just for telling someone that you don't want to give them your number now.
It's insane. So a lot of people will give out like a Google number or something else to just like be safe enough to
you can't even give people a fake number now because then they want to test the number right in front of you.
Right in front of you. They want to test the number right in front of you. So it's like, it's dope that you got them at the point where they can vocalize that. And it's funny, we don't respect it all the time because even sometimes I ask the boys, I'll be like, come give mommy a hug. And he might say, I don't want to give a hug. And they'd be like, give me, like forcing them to, like, after they clearly just said they don't feel like doing it. I don't ever force them to like give affection that they don't feel like giving. Sometimes he might say, I don't want to give a hug, but he'll do this. Even with Peyton, like, he doesn't always like people hugging him or whatever, but he'll come up to me randomly and just kiss me on the forehead and go, I love you, and run away or whatever. So I think that everybody has difference of opinions on this one, and I think it could be controversial, but I don't think being a new mom has the effects that people seem to think it can have on kids.
It doesn't, and then it also prepares you for life.
And body positivity, because you get very, very early, you get to see what some of those things look like when they're not as snatched as they used to be. You know what I mean?
And we have cellulite, we have stretch marks.
All of it.
Half the time we're ashy.
Don't get me started. Do not get me started. Do not get me started. Do not get me started on this one.
We got hair everywhere. You know?
Everywhere. And you know, I think it gets a little bit more controversial with men. But I actually don't feel like there's too much of a difference for them until they're like when it's a girl at a certain age, or whatever the case is. But like very early on, these children, they're 1, 2, 3, whatever. Anyway.
Can I ask you a question real quick?
Sure.
First question. This is off the record. Are you sure you want to have the dildo on the frame the whole time?
The rainbow dildo?
Yeah, I know you're going to do clips. I don't know how tight you want to do them, but you know Instagram is
That's
fine.
a good point.
Sorry.
Nope.
It's a great dildo.
It's a great point.
Great dildo.
I think it's
my size.
Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah. I don't know what size you're talking about. I don't know what's going on.
We're going to get to those sizes. We're going to get.
But
all right.
The other question that I have, the question that I have is, why is it that you think that more women seem to be naked parents than what I would think men are?
Well, I think it's pretty simple. When we think about predators, immediately people go straight to men. And that's why even I said in the intro, if you've been abused, you're a woman or a man who's been abused, because there's this way of people kind of discrediting the experiences of men and also projecting certain things onto them. So I feel like because people have had the creepy uncles and the X, Y, and Z's, that they don't acknowledge the older babysitters or the aunties, because it happens to boys too, but because sexual assaults and things like that are vastly less reported in young men than women, it isn't enough awareness around it. But what I will say is that it puts this projection out there that all men have a little bit of that perviness in them, and I don't agree with that notion. And I think that it's a very unfair thing to put on guys. But because women are naturally seen as nurturers, because we breastfeed, because a woman being a little bit more exposed skin-wise is more normalized socially. It's one of those double standards that men end up on the short end of the stick with. But I will tell you this, for one thing's for certain, two things for sure. I defined what it felt like to feel safe by the presence of my uncles and the men in my life. Like, hands down, or whatever the case is. So I don't have a negative association with it, but a lot of women do. A lot of women do.
And it's usually those that are closest to you, male or female.
And you know what's so crazy? I'll tell you this. I had posted a video recently that I reshared. It was something I made before where I was showing people the communication system I created to help teach Peyton about puberty, body, safe boundaries, where he can go and have private time to touch himself and all of that kind of stuff. And I also showed at the beginning of the video me having a conversation with my young child when he was about 3 about it, and then me having a conversation with my autistic child so they could kind of get the cross comparison of like what the language might sound like for each. I had somebody comment or whatever the case is about it and speak about like, again, it always goes to it being a guy or whatever the case is. But a lot of times with special needs kids and facilities and things like that, it's actually more likely that a woman is doing it to one of them. Special needs boys is just because he has autism doesn't mean he can't have a big dick.
It's because they usually try, especially for women, they try and form the trust first and get, whatever victim it is to trust them. And then that leads to them eventually
being able to access them that way. And the worst, I told the biggest warning that I was really trying to issue to everybody is I need y'all to understand that the biggest confusion for children and for people when they think about sexual assault or domestic assault, everyone thinks brutal, violent, whatever. What you have to realize is that yes, they are not approaching them with just out the gate harming them, because if they were doing that, they would be running to you screaming, crying, he's trying to hurt me. The fact that it doesn't get told or reported is because that child has processed this as a sensation that actually feels nice. The body has a way of responding no matter what. So if someone were to touch the penis or whatever the case is of an adolescent boy or whatever the case who may not be as capable of understanding this isn't something right.
And at that age.
And it feels good to them. So they would be prone to let it go on and never say anything. So I always say that I would rather be able to have forward conversations earlier on, and I wish somebody did with me, because if they had, maybe I would not have been assaulted twice. Right. Yeah. And I think that and that's why I'm such a big advocate for it, because I know what not talking about it can result in. I had the person who was the fake creepy uncle, and both of the people who I experienced that type of abuse from were people that were close. It's very rare that it's a stranger. It's somebody who's nurtured a trusting relationship in you. So that kind of takes me down a pathway towards like really quick sexual identity, because I do feel like being a little sexualized or hypersexualized early on is what kind of drove me through at one point what felt like sexual identity conflict. Because after a certain amount of experiences with guys, I started to question my attraction to them for a short period. And I think that's what made me start to venture into women. Because I didn't have my first sexual experience with a woman was when I was 18. Right. Despite having the most fluid friends or whatever the case is, I always liked guys. But by the time I was 18, I had already experienced my first, both sexual assaults happened by then, and my domestic relationship occurred at that age, right, where I was being abused, and all of those were by the hands of men who I thought were going to be my protectors, who actually became the people who I needed to be protected from. So it made me feel like every guy that I seemed to think was doing me wrong, and I didn't have any women in my life who made me feel that way. So I was like, maybe it'd be easier to swing that way. So what I wanted to ask you, Danny, is around sexual identity, because before we get into the like twist of that part for you, before marriage, I feel like you've definitely explored your identity, and I just want to hear a little bit about what that looked like for you, and what it taught you.
I mean, from a young age, I want to say that I've always been very open about liking both. It wasn't until I hit adulthood that I realized there's also others out there. Yeah. And once I realized that, I also wanted to explore that to see what I liked and what I didn't like. From a young age, my mother taught me how to basically, see the good and the bad in all people.
Okay.
And also to discover what was comfortable for me. So from a young age, my first crush was actually a Mexican woman. It
Really?
was a Mexican woman. She was my teacher.
Oh, wait. Is that who I'm thinking it is?
I don't know.
Oh, no, because you had a crush on a high school teacher, too.
I've had a crush on a high school teacher. I still have a crush on that high school teacher. But
I cannot.
but
But
my
this person
mom,
was in another.
Yeah,
Okay.
so she, like you said, she's very gentle with me, very caring, very nurturing. And it made me have a crush on her. And it also made me question like what's going on? Like, is this okay for me? And I asked my mom, and she was like, it's okay to like, boys, girls, whatever it is that you like. And that ended up, sticking with me from the age of 5
Interesting.
until now, where basically
It's
I
a little
like
bit-
I like a little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything. Little variety platter. It's like it's like a little sampler. It's like a
Yes.
little, no, but you know what? It's so crazy because I remember even when we were younger, when you were talking about losing your virginity, and the person that you had picked, and all of us was like, because if we're honest, all right, look. We're going to be honest. We're going to be fair. We kind of owe Danny a little bit of an apology because we have this way of just labeling her as a lesbian. Because like she's our lesbian. You know what I mean?
I mean,
But
and not to each his own. I've always dressed like this.
yes.
Always.
Yes. I was looking at a picture recently and I was like, this chick was legit. Like, honestly, I've always felt like when you dressed feminine, it was like uncomfortable sometimes, but you look good.
But it would be a surprise for everybody when I would do it.
Because she put a little heel on, y'all. She put a little heel, little dress on, and swoop them locks to the side, and it be giving a whole femme everything. And so it's just like, well, we're so used to seeing this version of her that, because of how we saw, we had a way of like making it your identity. And then you ended up in a relationship. Weren't you engaged to
I was engaged to a man.
But he also had like, he wasn't straight. Or I mean,
He wasn't straight, but he also didn't know what he was. I think our relationship and me being so comfortable being me opened him up to his fantasies of either wanting a transsexual or wanting another guy in the room. And I was always open to that. And so, like we explored pegging, we explored,
did you like it?
I love it because I'm daddy. Whatever situation there is, I'm always daddy.
Always daddy.
Always daddy.
I'm trying to think if I ever called you daddy. My mom has.
Well,
Believe it or not, my mother has always been like super, like she's always loved Danny, and she can be like that with my friends, but she's like the one friend that my mom kind of gets a little this way for, and I'll be like, what is that?
I'm not gonna lie. Every parent that I have ever met, they either have been anti-gay, or just they're respectful but not really feeling it, and
Right.
then they meet me, and then I don't know what it is, but
It's like you're the exception to their
yeah,
rule.
either
Yeah.
they flirt with me.
My mom, I'm telling you, it's insane because my mom is not like a judgy person at all, but it's just like Danny has this effect on her. So I could see how that works. So you ended up in that relationship, which didn't end up working out in the end, but then you moved on and eventually ended up getting married to a man. So I know that relationship ended up taking a lot of turns unexpectedly, and still some of them being navigated. But
No
I
comment.
want, like, for the sake of this conversation and kind of raising awareness into like the different ways that it can show up. At what point in that marriage to him did you realize, I think I'm being abused?
Well, let's start here. I realized I made the mistake by day 3
Of the marriage.
of the marriage.
Wow.
And I'll tell you why. Remember, it was December 15th that I got married. December 17th, I had my slip and fall.
Yes, that's right.
And by the next day, I realized that I married the wrong person.
Was it his care and response in that scenario?
It was at first his response, because when I fell, I still somehow made it up the stairs. But by the time I made it up the stairs, I was so winded from the actual fall.
Yeah.
And I was moving off of adrenaline. That when I finally like collapsed, it seemed to him that I was like faking it or putting on some kind of show.
Oh, he didn't take it serious.
Yeah, so he didn't take it serious, but like I was distraught. I was in pain. Like my body was going through so many things because I had certain, as you already know, I already had surgery on like 5-6 things. And so, you know, him not caring for me the way I needed to be cared for in that moment showed me completely, you know,
who he was. I'm not going to lie. That was the first time that I began to turn the coin on how I felt about him, because I think as friends, we see how you show up when y'all pop out as a couple, but we're not in your house. You know what I'm saying? So aside from what it's told to us, we don't know. And a lot of times when stuff is domestic, it's kind of embarrassing and you don't always want to tell people right away.
No.
And, but when you had your surgery, and I had came to stay over a night at your house there, it was like not that long after I had my weight loss surgery and all that kind of stuff. And matter of fact, remember I had eaten a piece of salmon and the next thing you know, that salmon got stuck and I was in the hospital and Yusu saw me and thought I was dying.
Yo.
I have never been so pale in my life. But,
mind you, this is the salmon that she asked me to make.
Yes, I did. I begged for salmon. I asked her to make it because my doctor told me I could have fish. So I went out there. She made the salmon. It was good, though. It was worth it. It was worth it. It was good.
It was worth the pain.
It was worth the pain. But I stayed over and, you know, to also be there to help you after you had your surgery. And I was disappointed. Like and it's a toggled line that's difficult because I wouldn't say that I knew it was abuse at that point, but I knew it was neglect. That's what it was, for sure. Mm-hmm. And I think sometimes abuse can show up as neglect first, because a part of not taking care of your needs and whatever the case is a form of, you know, each person has different needs or whatever the case is. But if you think about the correlation between abuse and neglect, being neglectful means I'm not caring for you. Being abusive means I'm directly harming you. Either of them leads to you not being well. You know what I mean? So I felt like, yo, you know, you were having a hard time moving around, your leg, you know, you couldn't really do a lot for yourself. The injury impacted your back and, you know, disking your back and all this kind of stuff. And I just didn't see a husband care for his wife. Mm-hmm. And the fact that she was my friend made it even worse. But
don't worry, I got my lick back.
Did you now?
Yes.
Oh.
Bitch, let me tell you a quick story. When I had back surgery, it was, of course, it was like decapitating. Like, you can't really move around.
Yep.
You feel useless. I couldn't wipe my ass, really. So that was like, you know,
think about that.
Because exactly.
You can't turn to wipe your ass.
I couldn't turn to wipe my ass. So I'm coming out of the hospital, and the doctor literally looked at him, because at the time we had a car. Actually, pretty much our whole relationship, we had a car. Mm-hmm. But he literally looked at him and was like, I want you to make sure you drive very safely. Don't hit any bumps. Drive slow so she can be okay. You know, this motherfucker hit every single pothole, every single twist and turn. And I was screaming in agony, and like it seemed as though he was getting off on it,
like a sick, sadistic sort of way of approach. That very narcissistic.
Very narcissistic. But I got my lick back because when he had his weight loss surgery, a bitch was driving fast.
How you go down all the construction blocks?
Okay.
You looking for
I was hitting curves.
Every speed bump.
I wanted him to feel exactly how I felt in that moment. Because I could have been caring. But you know what? God don't like ugly. At that moment,
I did tell you it was petty, right?
At that moment, nice Danny went out the window and petty bitch came out.
Honestly, you know what it is? And I'm one of those people who love a long game. Like when you think I forgot, strike. You
And
know what I'm saying?
this was like maybe, okay, so I had my back surgery in 2019.
He had his surgery like pretty close.
No, he
right?
had his surgery in 2020. 2020. So like
Okay.
a whole year later.
Later than the situation. Okay.
Yeah.
And you had already been post weight loss surgery too, as well, right?
No, I was just going.
You were getting evaluated.
I was getting
Sex for it,
evaluated.
yeah.
I was getting my weight loss surgery after him,
that.
a month after him. So what I did was I said, okay, you do yours first. I'll let you recover for a month. I'll take care of the house, take care of the animals and everything.
And then
we'll switch. When I have my weight loss surgery, you take care of the house, take care of the animals. So that's the way we did it.
But he wasn't really caring for you. And so, I mean, I never forget that day. And it's always tough because, and I would say this, my only regret is, and, you know, I got to give grace because I didn't know then what I know now. But I wish I said something. I regret not saying, I don't like this for you. Because I feel like sometimes a person could be feeling something or experiencing it, but everybody else around them, because they don't see that version of that person, they have a way of sometimes reducing you or thinking you're crazy for feeling how you feel about this person. And, you know, also sometimes when you try to give advice to people about their relationships, it was different. And for me, it was a marriage, and it was a new marriage. Mm-hmm. So I didn't want to come across like a hating ass bitch, right? But it never sat well with me. I went back, I had a whole conversation. So I was like, I don't know if whatever cases, Sue was still a little better.
Sometimes those conversations would happen to me too. Like he would do something and be like, is that abuse? Like it feels
you're
like abuse.
It.
Yeah, you're questioning it because you don't want to feel crazy in that moment. But you're like, it feels like abuse. I feel funny about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you say to that person that's already doing XYZ to you?
And it's one of those things that I feel like you have to tread lightly because unfortunately, and I've had a friend who this was the case, is sometimes people are in those circumstances and are not ready to not be in them. Mm-hmm. And they have a way of turning on you. Right? Because despite the fact that this person is abusing them, they fostered such a nurtured relationship in them. It's kind of like a Stockholm syndrome effect, right? Mm-hmm. Like it's like someone kidnapped you, but then they've conditioned you to see it as, I didn't take you, I saved you. And now people come to rescue you and you don't want to leave your attacker. Mm-hmm. And that psychological thing happens a lot with domestic situations. And I've had people like...
But this is why people keep going back. Mm-hmm. And they keep going back until they finally had enough. And for me, it was about to get to... I was about to be on the 10 o'clock news. Mm. Either I was going to kill him or he was going to kill me. Either way, a bitch was going to be on the 10 o'clock news. So,
you didn't know he was going to be the victim. What is
you know? One or the other, okay?
That's how they end up on Snapped, if you think about it.
No, but that's exactly how people end up on Snapped, is because at one point or another, they didn't know when to leave. Mm-hmm. And the moment that I put a knife under my bed, just in case something was to happen, and when he found the knife and asked me, why is this under the bed like this? And I was like, oh, I don't know. Just played dumb about it. I knew that was my time to go.
I'll tell you this. The funny thing about it is, until I was in the same situation in a different way, I also wasn't able to tell that I was abused until it got physical. So that means that I was living in it for at least 2, almost 3 years mm-hmm. before I knew it was abuse. Because here's where I got tricked. My mom was in domestically abusive relationships. I literally have jumped in to fight guys that were trying to hurt my mother. I remember being like 9 or 10 years old, grabbing an iron and charging at a dude because, he's pounding on my mom's. And then there was also another scenario. We were actually in high school at the time. And at the time, my younger brother, he was 5. And so we were at a basketball game at the school. And then I think I came home later that day. And when I came in, I saw one of my golf clubs was missing, right? And I was like, what happened to my 7-9? And my sister told me that, we always had this phrase, that we would use that would be my mom's way of telling us to go call the police, mm-hmm. right? So, I believe every family should have a safe phrase that is not obvious, but can be applied in any circumstance that will signal to someone that there is danger. And so my mother told my sister, it would be like, get dressed and go get this, it'd be a specific thing she would say, go get some from the store, right? Or whatever the case is. So at the time, and you rotate the phrase, I think whatever the case is or whatever. So it'd be like, go get dressed, I need you to go get me a Tylenol. It could be something as simple as that, right? So she gave that signal to my sister. But I remember my sister telling me also, as this guy is hitting on my mom, my sister grabbed one of my golf clubs and she starts to go at him too.
And she should.
And then I remember my brother, who was 5, like I said at the time, he was just in the room jumping on the bed, covering his ears and making noise or whatever the case is. And I think even for him, we all experienced that abuse because we visually saw it. So for me, since I grew up seeing abuse, I felt like if somebody was abusing me, I'm gonna know what it looked like.
Yeah.
So meanwhile, I didn't realize, oh shit.
It sneaks up on you.
It is. I felt, now that I know what it can look like, I now went back to the memory and realized, oh shit. Like, it started like months into my relationship. And, I don't even think we've had this conversation, but like, I was pregnant at the time when it first kind of triggered. And because I was staying with him, I moved in and got on a lease in the apartment or whatever the case is, because, home wasn't safe anymore at that point. It was a drug, and it was basically a crack house at that point at home. So I moved in with him, but he was still the head of the household, right? At the time I got pregnant, I'm in college full time, I'm working full time, and I'm bringing life into the world. And anytime we would fight, it started with him just like kicking me out, knowing that I even though I have family, that if I went to them, I would have to explain to them why I'm coming to them, which means I would have to tell them about the fight or the argument that I'm having with this man whose kids I'm having. I'm already disappointed in myself behind feeling stuck because I got kids on the way.
Yeah.
And at 18, you don't have the understanding.
You're still a kid.
Yeah, you're still a freaking kid. And so I remember feeling like being out and begging this man to let me back in his house.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's not a good feeling.
It's not. It starts there. And it escalates financially, right? Because now I gotta help take care of these kids. He just lost his job after whatever, something happened at work, and now you need me to give you X, Y, and Z amount of money so you could flip it this way or that way, or plan this party and claim it's gonna make 3 times the money. And I just felt like we need money. I got kids on the way, and I was pregnant with twins, by the way. So I'm like, everything that happened, it was first in that kind of control element, then it became financial, then it became psychological. You stupid bitch. Go sit down, you dumb bitch. And you a stupid motherfucker, and you know that. You let your friends get in your ear and tell you whatever the fuck you want to hear, you dumb bitch. And it started to be that.
And then you start isolating your friends, you start isolating your family,
pretty much.
and then it's just you and that person, and then that person starts to isolate you to make you think that something's wrong with you.
And then literally in that moment, it kind of worsens. And I ended up having these flashbacks to moments that I didn't see as abuse. They're like, how did I not know that was abuse? I literally remember being in the bathtub pregnant with like, I get very responsive to like bites, insect bites, whatever. So I got bitten and it swelled up, and I had to go to the hospital so that they can like remove infections, whatever. But it was really sore. And I remember him, like, my mom came over, and at the time she was still doing drugs, but
she was still
she
being
was
a
still
mommy.
she was still a mother, and she was still my mother. And if she knocked on my door at 2 a.m. hungry, I'm feeding my mother. She can't spend it. I can't let you bring that into this place, but I'm never gonna not. So my mom was eating, and I guess he was ready for her to get out. And I remember him telling me as I'm in the bathtub, just in pain, with my arm hurting, pregnant, uncomfortable, just trying to like sit in the tub to kind of help feel better. And he's like, you need to go get your mother out of here. And I'm like, when she finishes eating and I finish taking a bath, I'll go out there. She knows she's not staying. No, you got to go to, like, right now. I want my house back to myself, or I don't want, this is not no free for all. He eventually grabbed me by the wrist.
The wrist
that they had surgically dealt with, to yank me out the tub to remove my mother from the house. And somehow, dumbass me did not know this is abuse. What? And pregnancy hormones can completely shift and alter everything that you're experiencing. And so my fear
Honestly,
was
it
that
gives you like brain fog in the moment. So
you're not thinking like yourself. You're not even as
taking in
sharp.
that moment. You're not taking in
Yeah.
that moment at all as to what's going on and how this person's treating you. The only thing you're thinking about is how you can make this person happy.
And when my mom sprung up to come towards the bathroom when he did it, and he closed the door to lock her on the other side of it, with keeping me in the bathroom with him. And I'll never forget it, or whatever the case is, and threatening to call the cops on my mother to remove her from the house. And I'm sitting here just like conflicted, because I'm like, again, it becomes a moment where, you know, I could kill a person, because, and it's crazy, I wasn't even thinking about that for me. I was thinking, if he does something to my mother, again, the same girl who was fleeing to save her when she was in shit, I didn't even process what was happening to me.
You.
Yeah. So I want to know from you, when it escalated and it was no longer just neglect or you not caring for me the way I needed, and it turned into like him talking to you a certain way or him doing certain things, what do you feel like that period of time was like for you? Because I feel like you started to talk about certain things with us, but I feel like it was after it may already been in play, and we were like late to the story.
Yeah. So like you, our first incident was when I was pregnant. I ended up losing the baby because of the stress. And I think also in that moment, he had pushed me. And if you remember, I was already told that I was infertile.
Yeah, I remember that.
So
And you had the weight loss surgery, and it was helping you to...
No, this is way before.
No, but I mean later. But later on, I remember it helped you become a little.
It helped
me
become super fertile.
Super fertile.
Super fertile. What? Twice back to
the back. She was backing the bad boys out.
You know. But the first time we had realized that I was pregnant, we had gotten into an argument, and he had pushed me. I had pushed him back.
Sounds familiar. Feels familiar.
I went to bed, and I was so stressed out thinking about that moment that I was literally having, my body was literally purging and getting rid of my baby.
In the moment that it happened. Oh, God.
So I woke up to very sharp pains.
I might need that tissue that I spoke about. Okay.
I woke up to very sharp pains, literally shooting out of my anus. I couldn't move. My legs.
It's kind of cramping.
My legs were cramping. My toes were like stuck in one way. Like it was weird. And I had asked him, I was like, can you please get me up? I feel like I have to shit or something's got to come something's going on. And so he nicely carried me to the bathroom. And I told him, I was like, I think I'm going to faint. And I literally just blacked out and fainted. I woke up. I guess like my whole entire body was on the bathroom floor. He was picking me up, and he was like, did you poop? I'm like, honestly, I don't know. You're going to have to wipe for me. And he wiped me, and then he went and called 911. During that time, he got me dressed and everything. So out of that chaotic moment, he had a kind moment, and it was an intimate moment where I kind of like forgave the first instance. And on our way back from the hospital, like he started crying. And I'm not sure entirely if like they were tears that he just lost his child, or if he was like just putting on a show.
You know what's so crazy is like all of my child losses have been multiples, right? I'm one of those people who is a fertile myrtle, and my body likes to do magical things when it comes to babies. And so my first miscarriage with the twins that I was carrying at 18, it was early trimester, so it passed through, like a typical miscarriage. But what you just described, it was like hitting me so hard, because it was like, damn, me and my friend have been living the same life and I never knew it. Because when I was carrying what was my second pregnancy, which was triplets, I got much further in that pregnancy. Second trimester, 20 weeks. And on May 19th of that year, I had a similar scenario. We had an argument, and it could have been easily resolved. Long story short, I remember being on the computer on Facebook, because that's when we actually used to get on the computer to get on Facebook or whatever. Like, damn, like that back then. And he was, like, oh, come watch TV. Let's watch a movie together and have some quality time. So I'm like, okay, my man's asking me for quality time, whatever. I could get offline. And then as soon as I sat down, one of his friends called him, and he got up and walked away and started talking. And that shit had me. So I said, after the complaining and all this, because he didn't ask, oh, baby, could you come watch a movie with me? It was more of a complaint. And I was like, let me just shut him up. Mm-hmm. But long story short, I said to him, you asked me to stop doing this, and now you've been on the phone for like X, Y, and Z time. And if you're going to stay on the phone, do that. But I'm going to go back to what I'm doing. And he didn't want me to be doing what I was doing, but he didn't want to stop what he was doing. Mm-hmm. Long story short, I went to go get something to eat. I was like, I'm going to just warm up something to eat. I'm hungry. Maybe by the time I finish whatever, he'll be done. And I went to go and take the food out the microwave while we were still kind of like vocally arguing throughout the house at the time. It was his mom's house. And as I reached my hand in the microwave, he pushed the door to close it, to like slam my hand in it a little bit. And, I pulled it back enough that it didn't catch me the way that it could have. But that argument led to him, again, kicking me out, right? And this time I was almost 5 months pregnant with these 3 babies. And so panic attack happened. I got in a cab. I took the cab to like one of my closest friends' house that was nearby. But she was going through her own things, and I just remember being in the living room by myself feeling lightheaded. So I was like, I think I need to go to the hospital. Get to the hospital, blackout, wake up, childless, right? And it was a lot more of a significant thing because they were already forming. Yeah. Once you're 20 weeks, you're technically at the labor delivery floor.
Yeah, they already have certain organs that are necessary.
Yeah, I woke up and I was looking at my children. Let's just put it like that. And I never forget what you just said is so real, because I didn't know what to do. Mm-hmm. But in that moment, I thought the only person who could understand this pain is the other parent.
The other parent.
And so what I do?
You called them.
Called them and ran my ass right back and sat there, and we cried together and we held each other and we had that moment, and we promised that it would never happen again, and it would be different going forward, and all of these types of things. And we're going to go move upstate and start new. We just need a new environment. You just start telling yourself so many things because you think you can change who this person is in that moment, because you want them.
Well, let me tell you something. I've had 4 miscarriages with that man.
Jesus, Danny.
And after, I want to say,
okay.
the first one, I decided to stop telling him when I was pregnant, because I didn't want the same exact thing to keep happening.
Oh, man, I'm sorry.
1 year for Father's Day, I gave him a bracelet and it had 4 hearts on it.
And he doesn't even,
And he asked me, he was like, why are there 4 hearts on it?
Thank you.
And I told him, I was like, I had 4 miscarriages, and I want you to know, basically, that for Father's Day, you are a father. And, I don't want you to think anything different because of that situation. The following week, we had a fight, and he was like, basically, he was like, you dumb bitch, you can't even give me kids. So
this is how we snap.
So honestly, I actually think I went, the following week, I went to one of your,
was it a party I had?
No, it wasn't a party. I think it was like your first thing that you had invited me to, your retreat.
Oh.
It was your first retreat that I had went to.
So it's so crazy, guys, how stuff works, because the retreat that I organized the first time, it was called Reclaiming Me Retreat. And I wanted to hand select the first people who went. And at first I was conflicted because I was like, is it kind of crazy if I pick people like real close to me? Then I'm like, no, if I know that they like, I have worked with Planned Parenthood, partnered with them to fully sponsor what ended up being 12 women of color for a healing retreat. And I wanted everything to be covered for them. Wanted to, like, just meet me here. I'll get you there. Well, food, everything. And brought somatic healers, brought motivational life coaches, speakers. We did a whole herbal. We learned a lot, honestly, about different herbs and things that we could use to make elixirs and things that might be, you know, to bring the things that we needed health-wise into our lives. It was
But it was also very therapeutic in the sense of, I think that was the first time I decided that I knew that this person wasn't for me.
I remember when
you remember the conversation.
I remember the moment that it, like, she had the moment where she was like literally, it was so perfect because every woman was different, but every woman was the same. Like, I had a person from Canada, I had a person from different places. And as we all started to kind of get familiar with each other and talk about why we were there, stating our intentions on day one, and then kind of doing the work that we were doing throughout the weekend, I really wanted it to feel like you left here understanding, even if you didn't get everything, knowing what you needed. And whether that be what you need to add or what you need to remove. And it was crazy because I remember there was another person there who had left a partner, and there was another person there who had lost a partner. So those people speaking about that part of it. And I remember because you were pregnant at the time.
No,
right?
this
no.
This
You
was
weren't
before.
This was before you got right.
Pregnant.
You got the second child. You were all, right before it, and you were like, I think I'm getting a divorce. Like, it was like I don't know.
I literally, it's like a light bulb went off in my head because I'm hearing people's stories. I'm listening to how a partner is supposed to be because I've never had that in my life. Like my sister's father, I want to say he was my first narc, but you know, he left, or shall I say my mom left him when I was 10. And so my whole idea of men being in my life, it was really not that existent
at the time.
Yeah. And so I didn't know what a healthy relationship should look like. And then also when you're in your first couple of years of marriage, you have different people telling you, especially like your elders, who have gone through these kinds of situations. Oh, just wait it out. You know, it'll get better with time.
Because they're so used to staying in those
They're
circumstances.
so used to staying in those
That's
things.
probably the most toxic thing that the past generations have passed down. Sweeping stuff under the rug and staying in places longer than you need to be. And that's why so many of us are so like
the whole situation, like you end up blaming yourself and thinking that something's wrong with you.
Because you're not sticking it out and all these types of things. It's very conflicting because even you already were having those feelings, and it's like they amplify them a little bit too. Because it's like, oh, I married this person, whatever. And you know, it's so crazy. Everything comes full circle because even at the retreat, I had put like BK stuff in everybody's swag bags, and BK was one of the sponsors of it. So, you know, but I really wanted us to not leave there still feeling sad. I wanted us to leave there feeling hopeful, feeling a certain way. So I was like trying to be very intentional about what those items were. I put the balance soap bar in there because I wanted everyone to achieve balance. Like I picked the products that I felt like aligned with where we were trying to go. But you know what's so crazy? I thought about later how being in abusive situations, physical, emotional, psychological, financial abuse, after that relationship, how my body changed in its response to pleasure, how I connected with people changed, like, you know, the ways that I did that and all that kind of stuff. And I didn't think that there would be a path forward, but then I imagine you felt the same way, but then now you're freaking engaged.
Yeah.
To an amazing woman, by the way. And you managed to come from that and find love again. Somebody who's super supportive, who your children love, who you love.
Don't let your husband keep you from your wife. That's all I gotta say.
Don't let your husband
Don't
keep you
let your
from your wife.
husband keep you from your wife.
Because Chris know he could never keep me from my wife. Okay, well, she's our wife now. I feel like yeah, we got like a little poly.
Y'all having a threesome with Sue.
And she got a man too, so but he better know you better get with the program and become part of this family. Because just because you here don't mean she going nowhere. I just want you to know that. That's my pussy. Anyway, but I was like in a brighter spirit. I also didn't want us to leave here too heavy. And I feel like we got more to talk about, bitch. First, so let me say that. But I wanted to find a way to make sure that you left here with a thing or two in your hand to bring some good things into your soon-to-be wife and your soon-to-be new marriage and things like that. But also just right now while y'all in this phase. And so I have a thing or two that I need to pass you.
Okay.
First thing first, and I have one I'll show you, but this one is yours in this bag here.
Oh,
And that's just because I know your daddy. Right? And it looks like this. But you have other pieces in there if you want to open it up too. It's tied. Like, I think it's tied because they usually tie the bags when they first get them. Yeah. But it is the matchmaker harness. Let me show y'all. Matchmaker harness. And the reason why I put matchmaker in here instead of hot pants, because hot pants is technically more masculine presenting. However.
It is tied, girl.
Give me, let me see.
Bring that mic close.
I got you. Let me see. Yeah, we definitely.
Well, let me tell you real quick how we met.
Tell me, yeah. Because how did you get back to that?
So, when I was actually pregnant with my second.
Y'all met while you was pregnant?
No.
Oh, bitch. I was gonna say, this is scandalous.
I took the time that I needed because I was actually just entering my second trimester when I left him. So I took basically like a year to. I'm not going to say to heal because I'm always going to be healing. Mm-hmm. But I took that year to myself to
like that personal journey kind of.
Yeah. And then I also wanted to, connect with my kid and stuff because the connection that I have with Atlas is different than a connection that I have with Apollo. During Apollo, I was in the thick of it.
Yeah.
So everything, fight or flight.
But kind of Atlas came as you were slow, like you were.
Atlas
feet out the
came
door a
after
little
I
bit.
had left, and there was nothing else that he could possibly do to me to hurt me unless it had to do with the kids. And so it was like, a peaceful time for me to connect with my kid. I finally decided that I was going to start dating again.
Okay.
Because I was tired of rubbing one out real quick. That was getting boring real quick. And so I had dated another female for a couple of months, and she decided that she did not want to go to therapy.
I remember.
Yeah.
That one.
I told her, I was like, you're not meeting my mother until you go to therapy to handle, your parental issues that you have. And she went to therapy one time, and she came back, and she literally broke up with me right after her therapy session. So I said, you know what, bitch? Just because one girl knock you off your horse don't mean you can't get on again and ride. And literally within like 2 weeks, I want to say I went back on. This time I went back on Facebook dating. But I made my profile super intentional.
Okay. To make sure you got the right person.
To make sure I got the right person. And also, it's funny because she had swiped right on me first.
Okay.
I had seen that she swiped right on me. I fell asleep and thought about it because she's a lot younger than me. There's an 8-year difference. At the time she was 26, I was 34. And I didn't really want to date anyone that was under the age of 30 for me.
It's really hard to cross the line of the threshold you set, in that area. Because
Yeah.
it's like you're dealing with a different mentality sometimes with that.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I didn't want to be like coaching and dealing with all of that. So I thought about it. It literally took me like a day and a half of thinking about it, and I was like, you know what, I'll try it. So I swiped right on her, and the first message I sent her was my intentions, and I told her basically, if you're not going to be serious with me, leave me the fuck alone. In so many words. And she was like, oh, okay. And I also told her, I was like, I'm not about to be texting you for 2 weeks straight. If you want to go out on a date, we can go out on a date. This is the day that I'm available. And we went out on a date. And then the next day, it was also like, I think it was like during Christmas season. So I didn't have my kids for like maybe like a whole week. And so I enjoyed our date. I tell her all the time, it was like, the dress that you chose on our first date was heinous. But your personality and the fact that you were cute
This is why
made me come back for a second. Made me come back for a second date. So
I didn't like
literally,
your dress, but your personality was cool. So
Yeah,
I figured I could change your clothes.
that's exactly what it was. Clothes can be changed or taken off. You know.
She has that. You know what? I always look at her. I call it the coffee shop style. You know, like the girls that you always see kind of like sitting around the coffee shop with their laptops. So whatever. She's got that look when you see her, and she comes across super like
Sweet.
Yeah, but what she don't know is that by the time I had met her the first time, I had already heard a story about how quite literally nasty things had gotten.
It's always the ones with the glasses.
Yeah.
Always.
I had to know a thing or two. Yeah, don't be acting shy with me. Okay, if anyone, I'm the household that you can actually like let it all out with. And so I was thinking about y'all, and I was like, I want to make sure y'all get some stuff y'all can enjoy together. And so I put this one in there, and the only reason why I put it in there is because I wasn't 100% sure if you guys sometimes reverse roles as far as who is the one delivering the power. And that one...
Delivering the power is what you call it?
I got the power. You know what I'm saying? It is. It's like that...
I like the fact that there's cushion. And you know, bitch, the funny thing
we're trying to be meta friendly a little.
I was just thinking about it today. I was like, you know, I ain't strapping like a good
and a
2
little while.
weeks.
And a little
good 2 weeks.
Now you know a little.
And the only reason why that is because we just moved, so a bitch can't even find her strap.
And you know what's
right
so
now.
crazy? Well, now you have no here, right? And it's super like
and my couch just got delivered.
It's expanded right now, but Danny, like it tightens, it adjusts here. Ooh. It adjusts from here, and it also adjusts from the back area.
You heard
here.
me, right? My couch just got delivered.
So you're gonna christen it a little bit.
It's gonna get christened.
You know what I forgot to bring you, which I now I owe you, is the dildo that I felt like I wanted for you to go in it, which is this one. It's honestly, guys, even though we have a lot of sizes, and I'm a size queen, I ain't gonna hold you. I'll be taking a lot of. Anyway,
what is that?
I'm not one of those girls who's scared to say that she got a man with a big dick. I know those girls. Don't tell those men. Don't tell them about what your man got, and don't tell them about what I'm proud of that dick. Okay, I am proud of that cock. He's got the power too. Okay, and so, but I like this one because of he's curved, and I like the fact that this one.
Now when I see him, I'm not gonna think of anything else but his.
You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna send you a whole video of that cock so I could really traumatize you a little bit.
I'm gonna traumatize you back and show you one of her riding my cock.
Threaten me with a good time. This is the kind of friendships you need. This is what happens when you're liberated. You got friends who are like, yo, girl, let me send you some porn. Let me see some good hardcore. Actually, it was a really good video, actually. Because it started off with me.
Wait, didn't I send it to you already?
No, you didn't. And I feel like if you haven't, you're holding out.
Okay.
Friends.
No, I think I sent it to Sue.
Ain't no fun if the homie don't get none. And you know what I'm saying? It might not be able to touch you, but I can watch you. And trust me, you know, I will never look at you different at a barbecue. That's what matters most, right? But I will be like, girl, I saw you doing. Yeah. I like this one though, because it's like no matter what position you are in when you use it, it contours and it always just seems to curve into the right place versus like some of the other dildos, which don't get me wrong, I love me some vitamin D+, but that's when I just want to feel full. This is when I want to feel like that G spot versus this. So this is the one that I'm going to give you. I have it in my house for you to go in it, but it does have 3 different rings. So like you could fit different size dildos attached there.
Okay.
Yeah. So that way you can make sure it's like the tight, snug fit with them. And these, they get in there really easy, but you can snap this out, put it in the ring, and then just snap the ring.
Now
back.
hear me out. I think you guys need to make a strap that has double dildo because we like double penetration in my household.
Interesting. Good. I'm happy you said that because I did want to make sure you had another penetrator in your arsenal as you leave here today. And in order to do so, I brought you the Kang.
The Kang.
Kang. Because daddy and Kang go hand in hand. It is one of the royal treatment, and it was intentional because it's a purple toy. Domestic violence.
Oh, that's
purple. You see what I was doing there? You know?
Fran, I forgot. I almost forgot.
Anthony!
And it's purple.
Hi, y'all friends is not better than mine. No, hold on. Y'all friends is not better than mine. I get flowers. Which when I go home, I'm not gonna let Chris see this episode, and I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna gas him for the beginning. I'm gonna make him seem like I met this guy.
Look what I got.
I'm gonna be like, oh, this guy gave it to me. I'm gonna help him the whole story just to watch his vasopressin flare up. If you didn't know, vasopressin is the hormone that triggers a little jealousy and protectiveness. And so I'm gonna watch him look at me with that eye before I tell him. I'm gonna be like, yeah, I called him daddy. I'm gonna start saying, I'm gonna sell it. When I tell y'all, I'm gonna sell it. And when he watch, and I'm not gonna say nothing.
Can you record his face while?
Yes, and then wait, and I'm not gonna say nothing, and I'm gonna just watch the episode with him. And wait for him to see that this is where I got to. I'm going to say this. And if he doesn't like it, he can punish me or finish.
First of all, I like the way you guys box things. It's so luxurious.
We're very intentional with the show the packaging. Don't tell.
First of all, I want you to know it comes in on silk.
It comes in on silk. We give you that satiny feel out the gate. It's called the royal treatment. Okay, because you're supposed to feel like the queen or king that you are. But this one right here, so I have mine right here. King is my favorite, is the first dual stem toy that I made me like internal penetration. I didn't used to like penetrative toys. But you press and hold this one right here for 3 seconds to cut it on. The light will come on. And then this one controls the shaft and the other one controls the liquor. But
I think mine is dead.
No. I got you. Yeah, it's probably because it's first shot. We got to charge it. I got you. Mm-hmm. So when it's on, what it look like, right? Now, the thing I like about King is it's also bendy. You see that? So it's also going to curve into the right spots. You see that? Okay. But the tip of it is plushy and soft. Like, you know how the tip of the penis is a little softer sometimes. So this one right here, it doesn't have the hard feeling that a lot of people hate about penetrative toys. And then it has those ridges right here for the G-spot. You could just run your finger like that, Danny.
It's very soft.
Yeah, but do it while it's vibrating now. Run your finger on that part while it's vibrating.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying?
You know how to turn me on.
A little something, you know? So I felt like this one is something you could use with each other because I think these are so good for like even when you're giving oral or like if you're kissing and licking nipples or, you know, one person is eating one while the other one is penetrating the other.
Girl, I play the drums, the trombone, and everything else while
you in there. You just be in there. I think it's an orchestra. I don't know. I feel like that's how I get before sex. It's like, you know how you see at the beginning before the orchestra starts playing and he's standing there and he goes, dun, 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 dun. And
then I see her eyes roll back.
But I'll tell you guys, it also has one that's like solely, no clitoral attachment. That's just like this for the people who like that rear end too, if you want to
I be having
internally or in the other back end. But speaking of double penetration, I now owe you a gift. And I know which gift I owe you based on that statement, Danny, because it's actually on the table. So I have to get the fresh one out my home. When I drop that other I'm going to come drop some dick off. I've always wanted to say that. Yo.
I'm going to come drop some dick.
I'm going to come drop some dick off. But it's just between us. So I'll make sure you get this one. From me, it'll be my personal gift because, you know, y'all give out other kind of honeymoon or engagement moon. I'm giving out the kind of gifts to keep on giving. This actually goes inside of the wearer. Boom. Cuffs on the G-spot. This vibrates on the clit while this penetrates the other person.
Perfect.
And there's a detachable bullet. So you can add vibration to
Gina,
both people.
just say thank you, Gina.
So you said we needed...
We're going to repeat Spain.
We needed a double penetrated strap. We have a strapless strap on that will strap and vibrate for you both. This is for my lesbians.
My neighbors are going to hate us.
And I'm going to be very happy. Tell them I'll send them a Christmas card. And I'm sending this home for your love.
What is it?
This is actually, because she's a little more femmy, okay? She's a little more femme-like. And so this one right here there's a shade of a purple lipstick in there, but it's a little darker than this one, like the dark that you tend to ear towards. Yeah, I might have to share this. But
You know that's my favorite
But
color,
yeah,
too.
you can actually kind of see it on there. And the name of the lipstick is actually called Ex-Girlfriend. But
Wow.
ironically, right? But it's more of a darker purple.
You know what?
And then
we
there's a
might both
purple
wear
liner.
it and see where all the lipstick ends up.
Yeah, I like how that's recorded. Take a picture. Say cheese. So I wanted to make sure that I sent something back for her, so she knew that she was not left out in this conversation.
All of this is for her. What do you mean?
It is.
Exactly.
It's for y'all.
No.
But you're not really a lipstick wearing, heifer all the time. So that one is like just for her.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah. And I know
This
that
is
I
for
happen
her.
to notice that she's into the beauty industry,
Yes,
right? As
my
an esthetician.
lovely fiance is an esthetician.
Okay. We're going to make sure that we share it with you guys in the description. That's what we'll do so you can connect, because when I tell you, she gave a facial. And
She
I
gave
saw
a
her
facial
skin,
to Sue.
and that skin was looking good.
And not for nothing, you see this face.
Okay. Hold on. Give them angles. It's giving natural. Okay.
No, my booby, she be
She be doing
pulling
her
through.
thing.
She be pulling through
She
for
doing
me.
her thing. But she's not the only one. You have a new area that you're in. You're also in the business of love. Yeah. And I want you just really quick as we close out with Money Making Monday, okay? Tell them a little bit about what you do real quick and how they can connect with you if you want to take advantage of your service, because you're in the business of helping people pick that right token when they're ready to take that next step and make things official and take it to the altar. So tell them a little bit about that.
So I work in the love category when anybody is ready to make that next step with their partner, to ask them to be with them, I guess. I have two services. One service is to find either your diamond, your center stone, or your gemstone for you. Get it at a nice, affordable price. And then the other service is to actually make a full ring for you if that's what you want. Basically, people just come on, they answer the questionnaire as to what they want. And my job is to make sure that I give them what they want. But please do not come here broke, okay? Have the money ready. I don't feel like waiting a whole month. If you need time, talk to me during that time. Do not talk to me before that time.
You know what else is so interesting, though? With sourcing things like diamonds, you have to realize that you got to catch it in that moment, because
it's a very fast
it's
turnover.
a fast moving turning. So you can't go until you're ready. But if you want to get, like, talk to a person to get a picture of like what that, maybe you have a inspiration ring or something to get it, then that can help you get a picture of what it might cost. And honestly, from what I've seen with your pricing, it actually ends up cutting out a lot of costs.
A lot of people don't know lab diamonds come from real diamonds, and then they are just grown in a lab. So there's really no differences as far as hardness. There's different grades, of course, but the better the grade, of course, the more expensive it could be. And a lot of the times people get gypped, especially when they're buying it, straight from, the people
any of
that
those
are
bigger jewelers and stuff, because most people don't even know what they're looking for in it. You see all these words, clarity, this, and you don't actually know what that looks like in a ring. And so you don't even know technically sometimes if you've even delivered the product that you thought you were getting. So I will for sure say, guys, if you are ready to take that big leap of faith and step, and
take
be prepared for
Afterpay.
matrimony. Okay, pay it for. All right, you know what? I like a bitch with a bargain option. You know what I'm saying?
I take Afterpay, Apple Pay,
now.
Cash App, Cash.
Yeah, but this is the season because a lot of people like to propose in the holidays and New Year. You know what I mean? So if you're
That's actually my busiest season.
Yeah, that, and then Valentine's Day is right behind it. So if you're one of those people who is preparing for that magical moment, hit up her and see. Just compare and contrast. You might be surprised what you get. You know what I mean? But Danny, thank you, first of all, for being like open, transparent, trusting me to talk about this in a conversation. I mean, I would hope as friends, as long as we are, you can, but I learned some things today, and I also have some more things that we need to go get together. And this one is like straight drinks.
Now, do you know what I'm saying?
we
didn't even touch the tip.
We didn't even really, I might have to, we may have to part two. I don't know, because I could tell, I know that there's more.
There's more. And what you've heard is probably maybe the first 3 years of my marriage. I've been married for almost, 8-9 years.
But I will say that as you were talking, I could feel what I was feeling, and I was like, okay, wait a minute. This feels like a conversation that needs to be in a place where I ain't got no makeup on and we could just cry. Mm-hmm. I didn't even be able to cry.
Yeah. A lot of people didn't know I had 4 miscarriages.
No, I didn't.
And I also...
that was one of the biggest parts of it that really hit me, because, again, shared experiences, but also it's really hard when you don't realize that a person that's your friend is having certain experiences, and you just think about how alone a person might have felt. So I know that for a fact, it's a wake up call to a lot of us when we hear things that, like, damn, bitch, I didn't know you all these years. How we didn't know this about each other. But that's also the beauty in friendship.
You're always learning something.
Learning something new. You never get tired of learning those people. So thank you, baby.
Thanks for having me.
I tell y'all again, if you heard any part of either of our experiences and any of that sounds a little close to home, remember to call or text that DV hotline. Believe it or not, it is actually not the experience a lot of people might paint it to be. I know shelters and things like that are typically not things that a lot of people are proud of, but I'll tell you this. I was in an apartment with my children. We had a 1-bedroom apartment with a living room, a kitchen, a bathroom, full bathroom. I wasn't in, actually, if I could go back, I might go hang out there if they had an extra couple bedrooms, because we had laundry downstairs. We had a daycare. We had a rec center. We had a therapist. It was like everything in one building. But I found community. Amongst some of the other people who were there. We were all there for, similar circumstances. It was in a private place where the location or address wasn't released or known to others. They're very big about that. If they even see you talking to people in the vicinity of a certain amount of radius from the place, that could be grounds for you having to be replaced in another location, because they don't want you to be in a community where people might be able to identify you and potentially help the person you're trying to get away from track you, or to endanger the safety of the other individuals there. But I would say I was there for 3 months. I got my first apartment through there. They helped me with my moving costs. They helped me with furniture stuff, like getting,
I will say the city is good for when you are in a crisis.
Versus, and I know that sounds crazy because most homeless shelters, it's a little bit different in a domestic violence. And I know that this to be the case.
Domestic violence, they work a lot quicker.
Yes, all over the country. I've seen that. And then they also have like different types of properties, houses, things like that. So just know that it doesn't have to be as scary as it might be, but they are very much so going to prioritize your safety. So please reach out for help. If you're scared, to tell someone close to you, you've been isolated at this point. I hope that our conversation encourages you to actually tell someone that might be close to you, because you never know. I didn't speak up when I felt like my friend might have been in danger. And then now years later, who knows? If I had that conversation that day, who knows what could have been avoided for you if you felt like you were more supported or weren't, isolated. And the same thing for me, right? If I didn't feel like I didn't have to keep those things. So it just goes to show y'all could be living the same life and just not saying nothing.
But also the rainbow at the end is that we have both 2 beautiful boys.
Yes. And beautiful, amazing new partners.
Yes.
Who are
loving us the right way, the way that we want to be loved.
And that's what happens when you take the time to heal and find the right communities, the right relationships. There is hope. There is hope. So, and literally the number, I think, to the hotline has hope in it. Yeah.
Like 1-800 hope something.
Yes, I can't. I was forgetting the last few digits, but hope is in it.
We'll put it on
screen. It'll be on screen. Don't worry. But we absolutely want you to reach out for help. Okay, guys, and know that at Bedroom Candy, we are very intentional in everything that we do. We try to have something that helps you nurture yourself back to enjoying life, wellness, and pleasure. Whether it is completely on that side or putting on that purple color of solidarity during a month to be celebrative of. Being a part of a cause, because sometimes that's all you need. A place to belong that feels comfortable and home to you. And we will absolutely help you love back on yourself. Okay. For now, this has been another deep episode of the Business of Pleasure podcast. I'm your girl, Kash, a sexologist bestie. And I'll tell you one thing. You can learn how to feel differently about being hit, because I certainly do like being spanked. So come on over to this side so we can help you get back to your pleasure. Bye.